Have you ever wondered what drives corporate titans towards their triumph? Or if your own company is on the right path to its own success? Well, today I'm going to show you that it is not just all about profits. There are 5 golden corporate governance principles that help steer even the largest of corporations such as Microsoft, Unilever, and Patagonia on their road to success. And I am going to share those with you today. Now, the only question is, will your company be one of them? Hello there, ESG enthusiasts, and welcome to Green Quarter ESG, your go-to channel for all things related to environmental, social, and governance. If you are new here, we unravel the complex world of ESG, making it accessible and engaging for everyone. We learn together, we improve together continuously. Have you seen this 2030 sustainability update from Apple? Where Mother Nature needs an update from their environmental teams about their net zero carbon footprint commitments that they made in 2020. Now, it may be old news, but it is brilliant. And it's a fantastic example of transparency, which is one of the 5 golden corporate governance principles that we will be discussing today. Added to that, it's a great example of making ESG fun and exciting and humorous. Anyway, links in the description. So without further ado, let's explore the 5 golden principles of corporate governance, a cornerstone in the realm of ESG. Principle number 1, accountability. This principle basically ensures that organizations play fair and that they answer for their actions. Now, if they do something wrong, they need to face the music, own up, and make it right. I mean, this is really solid practice anywhere in life, right? Do you remember the 2015? It was 2015. The 2015 Dieselgate scandal. You know, the scandal that Volkswagen faced when it came to light that the software that they used in diesel vehicles were manipulating emission testing results. I mean, all the while they were emitting pollutants far above the legal limits. So yeah, that happened. I mean, that must have been a really awkward software upgrade to explain. Actually, let's call it an update. I don't really know how much of an upgrade that would be. Volkswagen's CEO at the time resigned and they publicly acknowledged their wrongdoing. So the company compensated affected vehicle owners and they basically introduced a bunch of operational changes within their business, which included a shift towards electric vehicles. In the end, Volkswagen owned up to their wrongdoings and began to fix their mistakes, which is what the accountability corporate governance principle is all about. But at what cost? They faced hefty fines exceeding $30 billion. Yeah, let that sink in. They also faced a multitude of legal actions and lawsuits. I mean, this is not to mention the 30% drop in stock price that materialized just days after the situation went public. It just goes to show that doing the right thing from the start really is the best policy, as the alternative can be quite costly. Number 2, transparency. The transparency principle ensures that a company has no secrets. An openness must exist towards all of their stakeholders in the form of clear disclosures of their operations, their financial performance, their strategies, as well as their governmental practices. You know, stakeholders like the people who invest in the company through stocks, or customers, or suppliers, employees, and so on. The transparency principle essentially ensures that all of these stakeholders have a clear understanding of the company's activities and their decision-making processes. So why is this important, you may ask? Well, in a nutshell, it fosters the trust that the stakeholders have in the company. And it also shows that the company takes accountability for their actions. Apple is one of the poster children when it comes to transparency. More specifically, the criticism centered around the working conditions in some of the factories of their suppliers in China. There were multiple reports of poor working conditions, excessive overtime, and inadequate safety measures. These reports led to a public outcry for Apple to change its ways. In response to this, Apple started publishing detailed reports on their supplier responsibility progress. Now, social responsibility progress refers to the ongoing efforts and initiatives that a company undertakes to ensure that their suppliers operate in an ethical, sustainable, and socially responsible manner. These reports provided insights into the working conditions within their supply chain, their health and safety factors, as well as their impact on the environment. This all in the name of transparency towards their stakeholders. Now, Apple's commitment to being open and transparent resulted in an improvement in their reputation. It strengthened their position in the market as the leaders in corporate responsibility and sustainability, and it resulted in better engagement with their stakeholders. That's because a company's stakeholders really appreciate transparency and being informed. So being transparent really is in the best interest of any sustainable business. And number 3 is the fairness principle. The fairness principle ensures that a company treats everyone equally and that they are fair in their operations. So really a very simple principle to understand. You will, however, find a great example of the fairness principle at work if you look at a company like Starbucks. Now, Starbucks has taken significant steps to ensure that fair practices play a fundamental role in its core business, particularly in its supply chain and employee relations. Their Fair Trade Coffee Purchasing Initiative, Starbucks has been a leader in certified fair trade coffee, ensures that the farmers growing the coffee are paid fair prices, which promotes sustainable livelihoods and community developments. Which is again just a brilliant example of the fairness principle at work. Number 4, responsibility. The responsibility principle focuses on the obligation that falls upon organizations to take charge. Organizations should implement responsible practices and policies to consistently act in an ethical manner and be held accountable for their impact on every aspect of society. Profit maximization is no longer the only factor to consider when it comes to the long-term interest of stakeholders. Stakeholders want to know, actually they need to know, what impact your organization's operations has on society at large. And there is really no way out of this anymore. So, companies have to manage their operations in a way that is sustainable, socially responsible, which is a fancy way of saying that you have to consider what the impacts of your actions are on the whole of society. And they need to ensure that they are contributing positively to the world and minimizing negative impacts on the same. Let's take a look at Patagonia, a renowned outdoor clothing company. Patagonia exemplifies the responsibility principle and how it can form part of a company's core business philosophy. Their commitment to taking care of the environment is evidenced by their use of sustainable materials. They also created and participate in the 1% for the Planet initiative, which commits 1% of their total sales to various environmental groups. Patagonia maintains fair labor practices and they actively engage in social and environmental activism, which is effectively them being responsible for their impact on the environment. Number 5, risk management. The risk management principle is there to guide companies in the effective identification, assessment, and mitigation of any potential risks that could threaten its financial performance, their reputation, or their ability to operate. Now, risk management is by no means a new concept. In fact, it's as old as the hills. However, effective risk management has evolved significantly. In this context particularly, it involves integrating ESG factors into the overall risk management strategy. This ensures that potential ESG risks are identified early on and managed proactively. Back in 2010, there was a massive oil spill that occurred at the Deepwater Horizon semi-submersible offshore drilling rig. Now, this drilling rig was owned by Transocean and operated by British Petroleum at the time. Well, after this catastrophic disaster, which was essentially a massive blowout and explosion while drilling, killing 11 crewmen and also resulting in an enormous oil spill, which is disastrous to the environment, British Petroleum completely revamped their approach to environmental risk management. They started to include ESG-related risk into their overall risk management strategy, which is now becoming a standard practice which is taking flight all over. Amongst a wealth of other positive business changes, BP implemented stringent safety standards, they restructured their operations to ensure better risk oversight, and they increased their investment in renewable energy and sustainability. Now, one could argue that these changes were implemented as a strategic response to the oil spill. And there's a fair chance that you would probably be correct. I mean, they had to rebuild their reputation somehow, right? But even though this could be interpreted as a bad thing, that would really be pure speculation. One thing that has become abundantly clear, though, is the impact that stakeholders have on these large corporations and how increased pressures for accountability and social responsibility is making a world of difference. If you need any guidance on how you can implement the 5 golden principles of corporate governance in your own organization, or if you need help with the supporting processes such as risk management or stakeholder management and engagement, click on the link below in the description and we can happily connect you with the right experts to help you take your ESG program or any of its supporting processes to the next level. You can even check out some of our other videos on these topics, which are brilliant and insightful. If you liked what you learned today, let us know in the comments, or just comment anyway. Leave your last emoji, leave your favorite emoji. It really helps with the engagement. Stay green and stay clean.